All right, deep divers. Back for another deep dive. And this time we're tackling something that's basically unavoidable for any Aussie business owner these days, e-commerce.
Right. Like it or not, it's the world we live in now.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Things change so quickly in the online world. What worked yesterday might be ancient history tomorrow.
You said it. It's tough to keep up with all the new trends in tech.
And that's what we're here for today, to sift through the noise and give you the need-to-know info on how e-commerce has evolved, especially here in Australia.
We're talking those aha moments that can actually make a difference for your business.
You got it. So we've got a stack of reports and articles here, but our main focus is this one that really lays out the entire journey of e-commerce from its very beginnings. And trust me, it's a wild ride.
Oh, yeah. You think about those early days of online shopping, dial-up internet, clunky websites that took forever to load.
Remember how sketchy it felt to actually type in your credit card details?
Right. It was a huge leap of faith back then. Consumers were hesitant, and understandably so. Plus, the technology itself was a massive barrier. Slow speeds, limited payment options, and websites that were, well, let's just say basic.
Not exactly inspiring a ton of confidence, right?
Not at all. But somehow e-commerce found a way to push through all that.
Like a determined little seedling cracking through concrete.
Exactly. And the article points out some key milestones that completely transform the landscape.
Which is exactly where we're headed next. We're about to uncover those turning points and what they mean for the Australian market today. So this article really dives into the rise of online marketplaces, and it got me thinking. eBay, Etsy, now. Oh, we kind of take those for granted now, right?
Totally. I mean, can you imagine going back to a time when those platforms didn't exist? It's mind-blowing.
Seriously. It was a whole different ballgame for Aussie businesses back then.
For sure. You were pretty much limited to whoever walked through your door, or maybe heard about you through word of mouth.
Right, if you were lucky.
Exactly. But then, boom, online marketplaces pop up, and suddenly you've got access to customers across Australia and even overseas. Talk about opening doors for small businesses.
And like overnight, your potential customer base exploded.
It was massive. And don't forget, it wasn't just about businesses reaching more customers. Consumers in those more far-flung parts of Australia who might not have had access to such a variety of products. Well, they could suddenly buy almost anything from anywhere in the world. It was a win-win.
Absolutely. But let's not forget those early days were still a bit, well.
Would you have felt comfortable handing over your credit card details online back then?
Heck no.
Yeah.
That's why building trust was crucial in those early days. And that's where the whole secure payment gateway thing comes in.
Which was a total game changer.
Right. When platforms like PayPal emerged, it was huge. They provided that layer of security that was desperately needed, gave consumers the confidence to actually click that buy button without having a minor panic attack. It's funny to think about now because we just do it without even thinking. But that peace of mind was, and still is, essential for e-commerce to really take off.
Totally. And that's something every business owner listening should keep in mind. You're probably processing online payments every day, and it's all thanks to those innovations that made online transactions secure.
It's easy to forget how far we've come. But you know what else really changed the game? Mobile commerce.
Oh, yeah. Mobile was huge. Everyone's glued to their phones these days.
Seriously, when was the last time you actually used a computer to shop online?
Exactly. And that shift to mobile meant businesses had to adapt and fast. Suddenly, it wasn't enough to just have a website. That website had to be mobile-friendly or you were sunk.
And let's not forget about apps.
Right. Another way for businesses to connect directly with customers, offer loyalty programs, exclusive deals, personalize the whole shopping experience. It's all about convenience.
Speaking of connecting with customers, this article really highlights how much of an impact social media has had on e-commerce.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about sharing cat memes and holiday snaps anymore.
Social media is a whole different beast these days.
It's true. The way these platforms have integrated shopping features is brilliant. You're scrolling through your feed and bam, there's an ad for a product you didn't even know you needed.
And for smaller businesses, especially Aussie ones, it's been a game changer.
Totally. You can target your ideal customer so precisely. Build a community around your brand, run targeted advertising campaigns, all without breaking the bank. It's powerful stuff.
It's all about meeting your customers where they're already hanging out online.
Exactly. And when you create engaging content that really resonates with those people, they're going to want to learn more about your brand and ultimately buy your products.
So we've seen how e-commerce has evolved from those early days to the sophisticated online marketplace it is today. But it's not all smooth sailing.
Never. Definitely not. There are always challenges, especially for Aussie businesses.
And this article dives into those challenges head on.
Which is what we're going to unpack next. We're talking fierce competition, logistical nightmares, and how to create an amazing customer experience, even with the vast distances we have here in Australia.
Because running a successful online business here takes more than just a pretty website and a few social media posts. Stay with us. So we've talked about the challenges, but the good news is this article doesn't leave us hanging. It actually dives into some seriously practical tips for Aussie businesses looking to not just survive, but thrive online. And believe me, these aren't your generic one-size-fits-all tips. We're talking strategies tailor-made for the Australian market.
Music to my ears.
Right. So first up, SEO.
Chuckles, I can already hear some listeners tuning out.
Yeah, I know it can sound kind of technical, a little bit intimidating.
Just a tad.
But before you switch over to that koala video, think about
Yeah.
this. When was the last time you actually went to the second page of Google search results?
Good point.
Exactly. And that, my friends, is why SEO matters.
It's your ticket to getting seen on those first few pages of search results. And it's not just about algorithms and all that techie stuff. It's about understanding what your customers are actually searching for.
So, like, what are those magic words they're typing in when they're looking for products like yours?
Precisely. Those are your key words. And here's where it gets interesting for Aussie businesses. Someone searching for, say, handmade soap in Sydney might use different terms than someone in Perth. Maybe they're looking for natural soap or vegan soap or even soap gifts.
Yeah.
You got to figure out those local nuances and optimize your website content accordingly.
It's like speaking their language, but online.
Exactly. And speaking of online, let's not forget about website speed. Us Aussies, we're an impatient bunch. If your website takes longer than a few seconds to load, sayonara. Those potential customers are gone.
Bounced faster than a kangaroo on a trampoline.
The perfect analogy. And while we're talking about things that can make or break your online presence, mobile optimization, huge. These days, people are more likely to be browsing on their phones while waiting for their morning coffee than sitting at a desktop.
So true.
If your website looks like it was designed back in the dial-up era, well, you're missing out on a whole lot of potential customers.
It's all about making that online experience seamless, whether someone's on their computer, their phone, their tablet, whatever. Okay, so next up in the article's bag of tricks. Harnessing the power of social media.
Which we touched on earlier, but it's so important it deserves its own little spotlight.
Totally. And it's not just about posting pretty pictures. It's about building a community around your brand.
100%. Aussies love to support local, and social media gives you that platform to really share your story, connect with your customers on a personal level, showcase what makes your brand unique.
Don't be afraid to get a little personal. People
Right.
want to buy from real people, not some faceless corporation. Show some personality, share some behind-the-scenes stuff, introduce your team, engage with your followers like you would with your mates. It's about building relationships.
Couldn't agree more. But here's the thing. No amount of social media magic can make up for bad customer service.
Amen to that. This article really hammers that point home, and for good reason. I mean, think about it. You're not just competing with other Aussie businesses anymore. You're up against global giants.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
what's going to set you apart? What's going to make those customers come back for more?
Exceptional customer service.
Exactly. It's about going above and beyond, responding to those inquiries crazy fast, offering flexible shipping options, maybe even throwing in a handwritten thank you note with each order. Those little touches can make a world of difference.
They really do. All right, so before we wrap things up, this article gives us a little glimpse into the future of e-commerce. And I'll be honest, it's kind of mind-blowing.
The future is now.
Right. We're talking augmented reality,
Oh.
virtual reality, artificial intelligence. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, it's exciting, isn't it?
Seriously. But before you dismiss it as something that's years away, think about the possibilities. Imagine a customer in rural Queensland being able to try on your latest clothing designs virtually from the comfort of their own home using augmented reality.
How cool is that? Or a customer in Tassie exploring your entire furniture store through a virtual reality headset, placing virtual items in their living room to see how they look before they buy.
It's next level shopping.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the wow factor.
Right. AI can analyze data about your customers' preferences, their buying habits. This lets you personalize their shopping experience like never before.
So instead of seeing a generic ad, they're seeing something specifically tailored to them based on their past purchases, even their interests.
It's like having a personal shopper for every single customer. The possibilities are pretty much endless.
It's incredible. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Aussie e-commerce, I think the key takeaway here is this. The online world is going to keep changing whether we like it or not. But by embracing innovation, really understanding your customers, and constantly adapting.
You'll not only survive, but thrive.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to experiment, learn from your mistakes, and always try to stay one step ahead of the game.
And remember, we're here to help you navigate this crazy, ever-changing world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's a wrap on another deep dive. We've covered a ton of ground today, from those early days of dial-up to the mind-blowing possibilities of the future. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to all the resources we mentioned, plus some extra goodies we think you'll find super helpful.
Until next time.
Happy selling, everyone.